No new eliminations.
Oh, good.
For the second, we can show you the eliminated tiers. It's the same as before because the rules facing elimination last week for the second time this year, and they avoided it, the Carolina Panthers. Both times when facing elimination, they've won. There is one team, however, facing elimination this week. It's the Raiders.
Wow. What a fall.
Man.
Makes me sad, but
They're supposed to make the
they're 1-4. They still could. But if they lose to the Titans, they're eliminated. They're 1-4. They're facing elimination. Fair is fair. Can you imagine how embarrassed you'd be if your team this year had lost to the Raiders? Yikes. Sorry, KW. All right. Terrible, but not hopeless. The Ravens. They're terrible, but they're not hopeless because Lamar will come back, and you got to think the defense will improve. Oddly, that might be better than the next tier, which is not terrible, but hopeless. Panthers, Browns, Giants, Bengals, Cardinals. They're not terrible. They win a game, but they're hopeless.
Yep.
So it just is what it is. Again, I don't know what you'd rather be, terrible but not hopeless, or not terrible but hopeless, but it is where it is. Here for the quarterback, Texans, Falcons, Bears. And here, let me be clear on this. The Texans' defense has been great, and the Falcons have other really interesting players. And the Bears, I think, have a really solid overall roster. The reason they are called here for the quarterback is because what is intriguing about those teams is how good is that quarterback? How good will he be? For CJ, can he reclaim what he had? For Penix, his performances go from high to just awful seemingly week to week. And Caleb is one of the most fascinating figures in the league. And I think all three of those teams are about similar caliber. This is one of, Marshall, who names the tiers, he goes to this one quite a bit. Potentially frisky. I don't know what Marshall's into, but he sure likes the word frisky. Cowboys, Vikings, Steelers.
What are you implying?
I don't know. The Cowboys' offense is one that's scary. The Vikings, a weird 3-2. Like, are they going to get better at quarterback when J.J. McCarthy comes in? I don't know, honestly.
I don't know.
And the Steelers, to your point, Brew, they're 3-1. Rodgers has good numbers. I don't really fully believe in any of these teams, but as Marshall put it, they're potentially frisky. Flashes of brilliance. Broncos, Chargers, who are kind of fighting for the same real estate this year, actually. When Bo Nix is on, the Broncos look really, really good because that defense every week performs. And the Chargers, when Herbert has some protection and they're mixing in some runs, it's like, well, it's a good defense. That's a great coach. The Quentin Johnson's having a breakout year. But the problem is for both of these teams, the flashes of brilliance are intermixed with some really disappointing play. Whether it be overthrows by Bo Nix or sacks taken by Herbert, like you feel like you can bottle, if you could bottle their best, they would be some of the best teams in the league. Don't do it enough. Huge week 6s. Washington and Seattle, who I think are almost identical in quality this season. For Washington, it's 1 versus 2, Jaden versus Caleb. Last year, that was the Hail Mary game that kind of flipped the two seasons. For Seattle, got to go all the way across the country and a little south to Jacksonville for a really tough matchup of two, I think it's fair to say, really solid football teams. The 4-1 Jags and the 3-2 Seahawks, but neither of which has, all three of those teams, 3 combined losses, they've been right there. Seattle in week 1 almost had it against San Francisco, obviously lost to Baker in the last second. The Jags one loss, they should have won, in my opinion, against Cincinnati. So, huge week 6s. Are you for real? Patriots, Jags, Colts.
I'll take it.
And I think these teams are for real. I don't know it yet. For the Patriots, if we took a 5-minute clip of every team's worst 5 minutes of the year, the Patriots would be neck and neck with the Titans and the eliminated teams. That's hard to divorce yourself from when thinking about them as a real playoff contender. But quarterback's playing really well. Vrabel's good. Their offseason defensive addition has been helpful. The Jags, maybe they can live on defensive scores and forcing turnovers all year long, and maybe Trevor will take the momentum from Monday night and play better in the second half of the year. And the Colts have just been really good all year long. I mean, it is what it is now. They have made their money by annihilating the worst teams in football. And then their 2 games against decent teams have come down to the wire. They won one, they lost one. So it's just a question, are you for real? Will come down to the wire. And that's when these 2 teams play each other, and that's for this division. The Rams and the Niners. All these games feel like they are nip and tuck, super close. And with respect to the Seahawks, I think this division is going to come down to Week 18, and it's going to be these 2 teams. Can be great, haven't been yet. The Chiefs and the Packers. So neither of these teams' records deserve to be anywhere near the top of the tiers. The Chiefs, partially because of pedigree and partially because what we've seen from the offense post, obviously, tackle to turn the tide. And for the Packers, what we saw for them defensively the first 3 weeks of the year and what we've seen from J-Lo at various points, you feel like either of those teams can win the Super Bowl. Either of those teams can be great. Neither of those teams have been great teams yet. Excellent, weird teams. Eagles, Bills, Bucks. They're excellent teams. They're all weird for different reasons. The Eagles because they just can't play a normal football game. The Bills because they have one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in the history of football, yet their best path to winning seems to be to ask him to do less, and when he does more, it doesn't work out. And the Bucks can only function down a score, late fourth quarter, let me turn it all on. And then atop the tiers for the first time this year, probably unbeatable, the Detroit Lions that had a 1-game hangover and then have been blasting everybody. And I got to tell you, I don't know who in the world is going to beat them next, but whoever it does, that must be a special, really good football team.
See, he did the joke. I was like, I know what he's doing, but then he actually did the joke itself. So I was like, you took my comment away from me. Because this is what he did with the Jags, too. He elevated the Jags before last week and was like, the Jags are this great team. They're really great. And I said, he's only doing that because if the Chiefs win, he gets to be like, oh, they beat a top 10 team. They're great. And then they lost, and it's like, interesting. And yet you now still have the Jags below the Chiefs. Like, that's weird. And now the same thing with the Lions. Like, oh, they're unbeatable. They're this great team. And it's like, really? You actually believe that right now? I don't know. This is like such a weird situation for me because since I already did my list and posted it, and this is what's so funny because if I just freestyled this right now, I could have a different list. I absolutely positively could have a different list. Like, it's always so fluid, whether it be the quarterback rankings, the team rankings, or whatever it may be. But there's just a few that just really don't quite make sense to me. So I'll just bring up my tiers. It's funny. The top 4 teams for me are pretty much the same, except I have the Bucks in the next tier, and I have the Chiefs. So I actually have the Chiefs higher than Nick Wright. Think about that. Let's think about that for a second. Kansas City Chiefs fans who have had some pretty friendly comments towards me over the years. Think about it. The most intense, admittedly biased Kansas City Chiefs fan, Nick Wright, has the Kansas City Chiefs lower than me, who you all think that I have this bias and hatred towards the Chiefs and Mahomes. And yet here I have them higher. Weird how that works. Weird. But then things start to get messy. Having the Broncos that low is absolutely absurd to me right now. Having the Seahawks that low. I mean, like, please tell me in what world the Seahawks and the Bucks go back and forth, wire to wire, in this insane game ever, and the Seahawks now are somehow levels below the Bucks. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Or that you see now that the Jacksonville Jaguars are ahead of the Seattle Seahawks. That doesn't make sense. That the New England Patriots are now suddenly, above the Washington Commanders, and you can't just be like, well, the Patriots, they beat the Bills, and it's like, okay, well, the Broncos beat the Eagles. Like, what's the story here? So it just, and again, I don't go by head-to-head matchups. I'm not like, oh, well, the Eagles beat the Bucks, therefore they're better than the Bucks, or that the Broncos beat the Eagles, therefore they're better than the Eagles. Like, it's not how I work. It's not. So that's why it's just like I would like to understand though then the logic. I go by quality of play. And if you see how well the Seahawks have been playing, and then you see them go up against the Bucks, and you consider the Bucks an excellent team, then by definition, how would the Seattle Seahawks not be considered an excellent team unless you really saw them play poorly in other games, which they did not. They have not. So that's where you're trying to balance this all out right now. I mean, if you look at it, the top 4 teams, and if you look at maybe like the next 5, my next 5 teams include the Packers, so do his. They include the Rams, so do his. I have he has the 49ers one group higher. I have the Vikings elevated, the Steelers elevated. I mean, like it's tough because since my grouping is obviously different levels, so it's a little bit harder to kind of really look at it one for one. But we have the Packers about the same. I have the Colts elevated than him, more elevated. I have the Colts and the Seahawks higher, the Broncos higher, the Bucks just one notch lower, the Chiefs higher. I have the Bills, the Eagles, and the Lions, and the Chiefs obviously all on the same level. Yeah. We pretty much all have the Bears, the Falcons, and the Cowboys are right around the same arena there. The only difference would then really be the Patriots. He has the Patriots much higher than I have, at least in this moment of time. But mine are definitely meant just to be kind of like a jumping off point to then open the door to be a lot more fluid with them. Not necessarily a prediction. In terms of like how Nick even has like, will come down to the wire, can be great, haven't been yet. Mine are more intended to like, for the most part, pretty much all of them except for kind of the Chiefs, honestly, are very much like, this is what you're seeing right now. Let's just kind of continue to see how things unfold. And I actually forgot the Chargers because I was going to have, since the Chargers are so badly injured, I was going to have a little tiny stool, a little tiny step ladder, and have the Chargers there. I obviously just forgot. And I didn't realize until it was too late. And I was laying in bed and I was like, oh my God, I don't think I put the Chargers on the list. And I was like, did I? I did the Rams. That's LA. I didn't do the Chargers. And so that's my bad. Where would I have the Chargers? Honestly, at this point, I don't even know because of the injuries. Just straight up, man. Just straight up. Don't know. The injuries have been so devastating, and that's why I cringe every time people try to put it on Justin Herbert or something. It's like, oh, but then Justin Herbert takes a bad sack. Oh, does he take a bad sack? When he's been the most hit and most pressured quarterback in the NFL by a mile, by 100 miles, by 3,000 miles. Like, oh, really? Is that what's happening there? Oh, Justin's having a breakout year. Then he catches the ball and then fumbles it. So, like, it just... crazy. But honestly, the way how I look at a list like this, when I look at his list, I look at my list. It's like I could look at his and I could be like, yeah, there's a couple teams that I think are too low or something like that, or another team that's too high. But for the most part, when I look at this list and then I look at my list, I'm just like, man, just this is such a great season of football because it's just everyone can kind of beat everyone. And you look at, again, I kind of said this before. It's like the Eagles feel like they could be undefeated. The Bills feel like they could be undefeated. The Rams feel like they could be undefeated. The 49ers feel like they could be undefeated. The Broncos feel like they could be undefeated. The Bucks feel like they could be undefeated. The Packers feel like they could be undefeated. The Broncos feel like they could be undefeated. Like, all these teams are like, man, if only we didn't make that one mistake or that one play in that one game, like, we could have won that game. And then the same, like, everything is just like, each team feels like they're why they lost. That it's on them. Not that, you know what, that team was just better. That team was just better than us. The Rams are like, we had the 49ers beat. We didn't fumble that ball. We win. You know? Like, man, we had that game. We had that. The Packers are like, man, we had that against the Dallas Cowboys. We had that game. The Browns, oh my gosh, we gave that game away. And it's it's just fascinating to see because you always have that to an extent. And you always have that through a game. And that's why I always think it's so important to try to, when you really watch those games, to really try to figure out, you know, yes, those plays happen in many football games, but like, did any of those plays also happen for the opposing team? And how does it balance out? How does it balance out? Because you could be like, oh, you know, the Rams are like, we gave that game to the 49ers if we didn't fumble or, you know, whatever it may be. But then it's also like, all right, but how many moments in the game did the 49ers give you something where they're like, man, this game shouldn't even been close if we didn't do X, Y, and Z? And it's a balance. You got to kind of calculate it. It's like it's a plus and minus game in that regard. And so it's not always the most straightforward. And right now, that's why it's like everything feels so messy right now, but in the best possible way. I mean, I was going to maybe make a video about it, but I saw Orlovsky's MVP, like top 5 MVP candidates, and Buka's on there with the Bucks right now, and Daniel Jones is up there, you know, and you're just like, man, this is a wild year right now where a rookie wide receiver and Daniel Jones are on Orlovsky's top 5 MVP candidates right now. It's just like, the heck does that mean right now? And then it's funny because Baker's on that list too, but it's just like all other quarterbacks always take a hit for having another player on the MVP list, whether it be Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, whether it be Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, but it doesn't seem to be happening with Baker Mayfield. Weird. Why do you guys think that is? I don't know. You tell me. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about my tiers, Nick's tiers, everyone's tiers? What are your tiers? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.